I read it twice, not because I didn't understand it, but because I wanted to see if it would feel different the second time. Sometimes words soften when you revisit them, like they regret how they sounded. They didn't. You're not one of us anymore. Don't show your face here again. There was no typo, no emotional spill, just clean lines, like something drafted, not said. I didn't reply. I closed the message, set my phone down, and opened my laptop instead. The escrow portal was still logged in. I remember noticing how ordinary that felt, how nothing in the interface reflected what had just shifted. Same buttons, same neutral blue. I finalized my end. There's a pause when you confirm something like that. A small delay before the system accepts it, long enough to reconsider, if reconsidering is what you're there to do. I wasn't. The confirmation came through. Then I emailed the trust officer brief, direct, withdrawal effective immediately. No explanation attached. After that, the shared asset account. That one took longer. More fields. More confirmations. I read each line carefully, not because I was unsure, but because I wanted to be precise. If this was going to be the moment everything changed, I didn't want ambiguity to linger in the paperwork. By the time I filed for legal separation from the joint holdings, the sky outside had started to lighten. It didn't feel dramatic. It felt administrative. My sister's message came at 6:12 a.m. "What did you do?" I stared at it for a while, not because I didn't know what she meant, but because of how quickly it arrived, which meant the effects had already started rippling. That surprised me a little. I laughed, not loudly, just once. Under my breath. It slipped out before I could stop it. Not amusement, more like recognition. I didn't answer her either. There's a version of memory people like to tell where everything was fine until it wasn't. A clean break, a moment you can point to. That's not how this felt. It was slower than that. It was my dad asking me to handle it whenever something needed fixing, but introducing my sister as the heart of the family. It was decisions I was expected to fund but not question. It was conversations that ended the moment I asked for clarity. Nothing overt, nothing you could isolate and say, "There, that's the problem." Just a pattern where I existed as function, not presence. And I stayed. Longer than I should have, probably. But leaving something undefined is harder than leaving something clearly broken. At 8003, my phone rang. I didn't recognize the number, but I answered anyway. "Is this," a pause, then my name, carefully pronounced. "This is Daniel Reeves representing your mother." His voice was even. Practiced, yes. "We need to talk, today, if possible." There it was. Not a request exactly. Not quite a demand either. Something in between. The kind of tone that assumes cooperation because it usually gets it. "What about?" I asked. Another small pause, measured. "There have been some developments regarding the trust and the associated assets." I almost smiled. "Yes," I said, "there have." He didn't react to that. Or if he did, he didn't let it show. "Would 11 a.m. work for you?" I thought about my schedule. There wasn't anything in it that couldn't move. "Sure." We met over a video call. He looked exactly how you'd expect. Neutral background, neutral expression, neutral tie. A man built for delivering information without absorbing it. "I'll be direct," he said after a brief introduction. "Your withdrawal has triggered a cascade of issues within the current structure." I waited. The trust was configured with certain assumptions about participation. Your position, your involvement, was more central than, I believe, was fully communicated to all parties. There it was, not an apology, not even acknowledgement. Just a careful reframing of reality. "What kind of issues?" I asked. "Liquidity constraints, for one. There are also governance complications. Certain decisions can no longer proceed as planned." I let that sit for a moment. "And what does that have to do with me now?" Another pause. Slightly longer this time. "We're exploring options," he said. "Potential adjustments, re-engagement in some form may be beneficial." Beneficial. I leaned back in my chair. It was strange, hearing it like that. All those years of being peripheral in conversation suddenly translated into structural importance. Not because I'd changed, because I'd stepped away. I'm not interested in re-engaging, I said. No edge, no emphasis, just fact. He nodded once, as if he'd expected that answer. In that case, he said, we'll need to proceed with a full restructuring. It will take time. I'm sure it will. We ended the call shortly after. My sister texted again later. Can you just call me, please? I didn't. Not because I wanted to punish her. That wasn't it. I just didn't know what I would be stepping back into if I did. By evening, things were quiet again. No new messages, no calls. I sat on my balcony as the light faded, thinking about how quickly something can shift once it's named. I hadn't argued. I hadn't defended myself. I hadn't even explained. I just moved. And in doing that, something became visible that hadn't been before, not just to them, but to me. How much of what I thought was shared wasn't. How much of my place there had been assumed, not chosen. I don't know what happens next. Maybe they restructure everything without me. Maybe they reach out again differently this time. Maybe nothing changes on their side at all, but something has already changed on mine, not loudly, not in a way anyone else would notice right away. Just a quiet adjustment, a boundary that didn't exist before, and doesn't need to be explained now.